Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give our praises to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Kakadash. Double honor to the Apostle Great Millstone, Thomas Truth and Ruel. Peace, blessing, and salutation to Akim out there, scared about the fork on the earth, that serves truth and sincerity. To I say Shalom. This is Brother Nabala, with another video in the spirit. And the top of this video is going to be about how E has used oppression, to build up his kingdom, and it just sometimes meditating about it and doing just some research, going back to, the slavery, and after slavery, slavery so-called ended, and just looking at their history, you see how E has used oppression, of the Israelites or the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans to build up his kingdom. You can go back to when Christopher Columbus, what they call Christopher Columbus, came up here in 1492, and start colonizing, Gad, and rooting Gad up out of here, the Northern Kingdom. They start getting up out of here, which is Native Americans. They start rooting them up out of here. Then when you go, you say from 1492 to like, was that 1592? Was that 1602, 1612? About 120 some years later, then they start shipping over. The transatlantic slave trade was going on, and they start shipping over the Southern Kingdom from Africa, man. And then from the 1600s to 1800s, that's when during that time, that's when that hardcore slavery was going on, and then they so-called ended slavery under Abraham Lincoln. But then even after that, Jake was sharecroppers, So all throughout history, E was using oppression to keep Jake in subjection to help build up his kingdom. And look where you have today, man. Look when you look at America, when you look at these cities, these streets, these buildings and stuff, Jake built this. Now, yeah, as time has progressed, with their construction and technology, they have built new things. But Jake has laid the foundation for this place, man. And even to this day, E still keeps Jake in an oppressed state, man. He doesn't let Jake get too far here. He doesn't let Jake expand or be able to do what we're capable of doing, because he wants to stay in control, basically, So that's why this man has to be taken out. That's why he has to pay for what he's done to the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. He has put us in this state, and he's destroyed us. He has destroyed us. Now, us in this truth, we have the spirit. We have the spirit of Yahweh Shemashah. The Lord has allowed us to wake up. So our minds are not destroyed like they once was, but far as a people, we still destroyed. 2/3 of Jake are still out here destroyed, man. Still in messed up predicaments, man. And they can't get out of it, because they're 2/3 for one, and they don't have the spirit. Us, the way we're gonna get out of it is through Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai, But all this stuff was done strategically, like it says. They take counsel these things. This is part of that crafty counsel that they did in Psalms 83, man. How to keep the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans down. How to keep them in a state where they can't get out of. And this also is fulfillment of prophecy and fulfillment of the curses, man. When you go back to Jacob and Esau, it says he should bruise our heel, but we should bruise his head. When you bruise some heel, they fall down. And that's what he did. We fell down for a period of time. But we're gonna come back and bruise Esau's head, because when you bruise their head, what? That's it. When you take someone's head off, that's it. There is no reviving from that. But that's what happened. We have been brought down to a very low state, and we can't get out of it. Why? Because we're still in them curses with what? We have to still go to Esau for everything, man. We're subject to payments, man. Like this dude was saying, he was breaking it down. He said, these people, they'll come in and take your goods, and give you a loan and charge you interest on a loan that you got to pay on something that you got to pay back, which was originally yours. And that's what he has done, man. So this is Zephaniah 3:1. It says, "Woe to her that is filthy and polluted, to the oppressing city." Yeah, this place is filthy and polluted, man. Okay, the oppressing city. We're still, like Deontay Waters said, to this day, we're still oppressed to this day. Jake think because they can go out every weekend and they got their little jobs and they got a little money, that they got some type of freedom. You're not free, man. Being under the rulership of Esau Edom is not true living, man. Look at this place. It's filthy and polluted. Look what he pushes, man. He pushes the alphabet community. You can change to be this. You can change to be that, man. Get rid of your kids, if you know what I mean. All these things that Esau pushed is contrary to the scriptures, man. Contrary to the way they were supposed to be living, man. And all this stuff goes back to him planning these things out, because it comes back to that Psalms 83, that crafty counsel, to cut off the name of Israel for being in remembrance, man. So I'm gonna grab this. This is Micah 2. I'm going to start 1. It says, "Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hands." Yeah, they meditate about these things that they want to accomplish. And once they figure out the plan that they want to do, then what? They act on it, They start putting it in motion because they have the power to do so. How do they have the power to do so? Because they are in rulership. Job 9:24, the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. Who is the wicked? Esau, man. He's the one who's in rulership right now, man. Verse 2, it says, "And they covet fields and take them by violence in houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage." Yeah. They covet fields and take them by violence. He come in with his sword, his blessing, and he take whatever he wants, man. And then he sets up who he wants to be in power or running over that region, man, and make you conform to it. He oppress you. And that's been his MO throughout history, man. He pushes his religion, he pushes his way of life on you and take away yours. Takes away your identity. And look what he's done to the Israelites. He said that we're not the Israelites, but he just set up his own people over in that land saying that they are the chosen people. And they're not. And oppressed us. That's what Esau has done, man. And then, when Jake did try to uproar, fight back, what? He didn't pacify Jake. I remember one of the elders here, he said, I can't remember the time frame, but when Jake, was doing their protesting, they said they went out with pitchforks and they came back with jobs. And that's what he has done. He didn't find out, he didn't figure Jake out, man. Okay, give him a little this, give him a little that, they're gonna be satisfied, and that's exactly what's happened. But for us that's in this truth, we're not satisfied. Why? Because we know this is not true living. We know the filth that Esau has done throughout the history, and we're exposing him. We're exposing this man. When you go back and look at how he's literally used oppression to get where he's at, man. Since slavery has always been the thing, but he has took it to a whole nother level, man. So he has to be paid back for that. This is so let me grab this. This is Ezekiel 22 and 29. It says, the people of the land have used oppression and exercised robbery and have vexed the poor and needy. Yeah, they have oppressed a stranger wrongfully. Yeah, that's what they've done, man. Use oppression, exercise robbery, just take, man, and cannot be fulfilled. The scriptures say that. When you go to Habakkuk 2:5, his desire is death and hell and cannot be satisfied. He cannot be satisfied, man. Esau always wants to heap more and more and more. More people, more control. Wants to have total control, and that's why they're trying to implement in their NWO system. They're moving fast to implement that, And now look what he's doing with the Northern Kingdom, And now he's about to do what? the Southern Kingdom with the Haitians, man, starting February 3rd. You got you push this narrative saying this supposed to be the land of the free, you know. This, that, and the third. People come over here and get a taste of that dream, and then when people come over to try to do so, now you ready to kick them back up out of here, man. See how wicked he is, man. That's why the scriptures say, "Arise and depart, for this is not your rest." This place is not our rest. America is not our rest, but this world is not our rest. We can't get comfortable in this place, man. Because, like it says, this place will destroy you even with destruction. Living the way that Esau Edom has promoted and pushed out here in the world will destroy you. The air is destroyed. The food is defiled, man. The earth is mourning. The people are just out of order. Just complete chaos, man. And that's why this man has to be taken out, man. Let me grab this. Oops, Salakia. This is Psalms 73. And I'm going to grab 8. It says, they are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak lawfully. Yeah, they speak wickedly concerning oppression, man. You call them out on what they done, they be like, well, hey, it is what it is. Or try to say like we deserved it, you know? But when we talk, when we say that the same thing's gonna happen to you, then we're wrong. But for you justify yourself and putting the niggas, Latino, and Americans in captivity, man. You justify it. What's justified about it? You know? And then as you try to paint this narrative that we're these criminals, or we're the problem here in America. YNs, you know. Jake is the forerunner for crimes, but that's not true. Esau do the most crimes. Where do you think Jake learned how to do this fraud and scamming and all this stuff from? He the ones who get over it. You will hear about these Ponzi schemes and all this stuff going on with these businesses and corporations. Ain't no Jake in control of that. That be E. So E always like to point the finger and try to be blameless. But the scripture said that they hold themselves not guiltless, man. But Yahweh Shem Shai, it's gonna hold you guilty, man. You're not getting off scot-free, man. So I'm gonna grab this. This is Ecclesiastes 7:7. It says, surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and they give destroy up the heart. Yeah. A wise man. We are the wise men, the one who are awakened. You know? And we see through it, man. You know? Like the Matrix. We once was in the Matrix, but now we're unplugged. And we see the oppression, man. And we see how Esau has used oppression. And we see how we're still oppressed. And how we see the situation that Jake is in, man. And it drives you. Yes, it makes you mad, man. It makes us very upset. Because we're ready for this man to be taken down. We know we have to wait on Yahweh Shem Shai. And we're going to wait. We're going to be patient. The scripture tells us to be patient. But still, you do get vexed. Knowing that this man is in rulership and knowing how he's treating us, man. Knowing what he's doing to us, to the earth, to everything. Yes, it vexes us. That's why we can't wait. That's why we hasten the day, man. And we can't wait till we get our turn. But it's coming soon, man. You know? Yahweh Shem Shai operates in balance. He's allowed E to have his chance of rulership. Now we're going to have our turn. And he allowed E to have us in captivity. And we're going to have our turn to have him in captivity. And that's what the scriptures say. And I'm going to grab that and I'm going to close up. It's only right, man, that you get paid back for what you've done. You believe that. You do the crime, you do the time, man. You try to hold people accountable, so you're going to be held accountable. This is Revelations 13:10. It says, he that leadeth in captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Yeah. That's what we're patiently waiting for. And we have faith that Yahweh Shem Yahushai is going to bring that to pass. We're going to put E in captivity as well as the other nations. He that killed with the sword, he's killed. His hands is full of blood, man. So the Lord's going to let us get down on them, man. And we're just going to continue to patiently wait until that day comes. But we know that day is fastly approaching. We see what's going on. We see how Esau's world is on a downfall. You know, next year, 2026, that'll be 250 years since this place has been established. Because I believe it was established. Was that 1776? Because 1876, that's 100. 1976, that's 2. So, yeah. So 250 years, and if you look it up, it says a empire only lasts about 250 years and it goes down. So if you look at history, if history has been repeating itself, well, I wouldn't repeat itself in these times. And we know that this place has already reached its height. It's not going to get any better, man. We're at the end. So all we have to do is wait for Yahweh Shem Yahushai, man, to bring this place and to bring this man down. And he's going to do it. So, Lord, when this video is edifying, I'm going to close out by giving our praises to Yahweh, by Shem Yahushai, by Shem Rakakadash.